feel when your numbers go up and they hear you. They start following your message cause they feel you. Haters in the rear view wanna ruin plans. Don't be startled, they just low-key fans. They tight like bands on the fresh stack. Knowing Rolo runs the city, bringing hip-hop back for the 51st year with my loquacious bands. Now this ain't no love.
Hey, what's going on, my people? Welcome back to the Rolo Runs the City podcast. I am your host, Rolo, and I am back with another video for you. Just wanted to definitely tap into this next subject, and it is masculinity isn't dead, it's evolving. And I truly do believe this. My thing is, we need to make sure that it's evolving correctly, such as man, not reverting backwards back to the old smartphone becoming smarter than the man, and we're going to end up cavemen once again, who's just like talking gibberish in order to club our women over the head with the old club and drag them by the hair. So anyway, what I'm saying is we need to make sure that we're evolving better, because right now with this bad boy over here doing all of the mental work for us, we are not really doing what needs to get done in reference to our mental faculties being sharp and intelligent. Think about it this way. When's the last time you did a 4-digit simple subtraction problem? Probably a long time. Why do it when you have a calculator, right? Probably ask me, is like, well, you know, when was the last time you washed your clothes with your hands? Or when was the last time you didn't use a dishwasher and you did this stuff by hand? So I get what we're saying, but don't let technology take the human factor away from the human. So anyway, like I said, I'm going to talk about this subject of masculinity, but like I always say all the time, man, feel free to check out my podcast on YouTube or any of the streaming platforms. We are there. You can check me out at Rolo Runs the City podcast, at Rolo Runs the City Music on both Instagram and Facebook. I am on that as well. And of course, you could always go to X and check out at Rolo Runs the City. I don't really rant. I just, try to put out some good quotes for the day, get the day going. And if you want some good old inspiration from the second coming of Ernest Hemingway, feel free. But anyway, I figured I'd go ahead and definitely tackle this subject, because I think it's something that's been under attack for like the past few years now, definitely the past 4. With all the outrageous things that are going on, especially politically in the political landscape of, I truly believe that, I'm not saying maybe it was intentional, maybe it was, I'm not sure, but masculinity, of course, has been under attack. But we already know that empires are built and they're also broken with masculinity being at the forefront, whether if it's overbearing or lack thereof. You need to have balance, of course. But at the end of the day, a man is going to be a man, a woman is going to be a woman, and no, we are not equal, because I am not going to give birth to a child. So therefore, they have a one-up on me. But I don't expect a woman to get up there and handle, replacing a transformer on a light pole. Not saying that they can't do it, because obviously there's women that work in that field, so they can. And it's not like they're an anomaly either by getting it done. But you really don't have the vast majority of women that are actually doing that. And no, men cannot, give birth to children. The end. So I leave that for my strong women. But we are 50-50. We do go half and half. One is not better without the other. So we definitely come together to make that 100, and always remember that. But no, we are not equal, damn it. And you need to think about something as well, too. Think about next time, if you're a parent of a young child, what would you prefer? Would you prefer to have a female babysitter or a male babysitter? You don't even have to answer it, because that question was rhetorical. You already know what it is. Anywho, let's get on the topic of masculinity. All right, and I'm not bashing anyone here. I know that people probably thinking like, oh man, he's bashing like hell. He just involved politics right now and what's happened within the last 4 or 5 years. And look, man, it has nothing to do with that. I'm not I'm not doing that at all. What I'm simply saying is we need to be men about our business, and we need to go ahead and man up. We really need to do that. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm building men back up. This is what we need to do. Point blank period. Okay? And of course, strength isn't just physical. It's mental strength, it's emotional strength, as well as spiritual strength. Like I always say all the time, if you don't believe in anything, at least have a belief in yourself. But a lot of times, those that don't believe in anything have a lack of belief in themselves on how they perform in whatever entity that they desire, whether if it's at work or whether if it's in a relationship with a female, whatever. You know what I'm saying? My thing is, if you don't believe in anything, at least believe in yourself. But at the same time, if you don't believe in anything bigger than you, then your beliefs will just be non-existent. Point blank period. Again. But of course, it's always good to have, like I said, emotional strength. Emotional strength is absolutely important, But let's just talk about that emotional and mental strength, the strength to walk away from anything that's not serving you. That could be a job that you may feel, you've hit the glass ceiling and you're not going to break through it. It could be a relationship that you're in with a female that you feel like it's not really going anywhere. It's not evolving. You're not seeing yourself growing old with this person, building your family legacy with them. If there's toxicity in the relationship, and it goes both ways. It's not just females, it's males too, that they can, come off to be very, very toxic, especially today in today's social landscape, where, I personally don't like it, where I see a lot of men that are being very gossipy. You know what I mean? We're seeing that a lot lately with a lot of things that are happening with, alleged sexual assaults with high-profile figures in the entertainment world, things of that nature. I don't like to get into that. I'm not going to. I'm just saying that, those things, they occur. And my thing is, whoever's the party involved that's actually innocent is the one that you hope gets the justice. But at the end of the day, it's not about preying on a man's downfall or preying on a female's downfall. You want people to come up and you want people to rise, and you want them to do it the right way, organically. You don't want them to be in a situation where everybody's so hypnotized by getting the bag, they want to do it by any means necessary, and it could mean, defamation of character, something illegal. It's really not the route to go. At the end of the day, we always talk about the good karma bank. Make the deposits daily. That's what I'm all about. You guys already know that. I'm not telling you anything new. But anywho, especially when it comes to, we talk back about family legacy, when you're raising your kids. At the end of the day, you want your children, we talked about this in past episodes, about looking at you in admiration, not looking at some outside entity, whether if it was a rapper or some athlete or whoever it is. If it ain't you, then of course it's a problem. So my thing is, I'm not saying that I want to be the end all be all for my children, but damn it, this is what's getting me to step my game up, so then that way I can do what needs to get done and have them look at me in their light. You know what I mean? It's like, man, I can't carry this. Dad got it. Man, I can't fix this. Dad got it. Like, man, I got to do this ruck march today with my unit. I think about my dad. Went through a lot of pain. Still got it done. It's just things like that. You know what I mean? Making decisions. That's another thing that we always talk. I always tell my wife about that. In school, they should have a curriculum based on decision making. They don't have that. They say they want kids to exercise critical thinking. I don't really see that evident, because everything is such a environment where it's more about complying as opposed to innovation. And I'm not saying that this is all schools, obviously, but the vast majority, especially public schooling, they have a curriculum they have to cover. So decision making is not one of them, and it should be. But teaching kids to make decisions, whether if it's the right decision or it's the wrong decision, doesn't matter as long as a decision is being made, because paralysis by analysis actually happens. So it's absolutely imperative to ensure that whether if there's a bomb on the other side or if the room is absolutely clear, the room has to get cleared, make a decision, kick the door down, go in. But anyway, we always talk about, raising kids. When you're raising your children, you want to make sure that you're striving to be your best so then they have something to follow. Another thing, too, with this family dynamic, you need to go ahead and choose your partner wisely. A lot of times these people, you're not getting with somebody because of love, because of a great affection, commonality. A lot of it's just lust. Dude, majority of these guys that catch hell get a jump off at the club. I don't know what they call them now. Like basically a one night stand, end up having, sexual relations without a contraceptive. Next thing you know, 9 months later, you're giving birth to a child support check at the end of the day. So it's absolutely important to choose wisely. And women should choose wisely too, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that have to deal with that bad decision. Because even if the man, which is what we're talking about now, about improving masculinity to this date, a lot of men, because they're males, doesn't make them men. Okay, men step up to the challenge, they do what they're supposed to do, and they lead by the front. Okay, there's no such thing as, I lead in the rear. That's not leadership. So on both aspects, guys, be careful with what you get yourself into, because it could at least, at a minimum, hurt you for the next 18 years. And women, be careful with what you do, because we understand you're complex animals. We get that, but a lot of men don't understand that. So therefore, they end up jumping ship, and you're there trying to raise a child who becomes infantile, especially if it's a young boy, becomes infantile because he doesn't have a man that's helping him lead the way. Now, am I saying that male role models only have to come from the child's father? Absolutely not. That's why you got people in church, you got coaches with athletic teams, you have teachers in school. There's a lot of great men role models that are there, but at the same time, you have to understand too, I need to make sure that I put my child in those positions, because in order for my little son, whose dad is not around, needs to grow up to be a strong man, at least he's around that dynamic to where it's like, okay, he has access to actual real men. Right now, we're seeing a lot of kids, you could be sensitive if you want to, but you're seeing a lot of kids angry, walking around, pissed off like a man, walking like a woman, having mannerisms as a female. And the reason why I say this is because what they're looking at is they're looking at an aggravated mom who has zero help. This is exactly what it is. Okay? I'm being as absolutely honest as I could be with you. Is it all situations? No. Is it vast majority? Who knows? But what's being popular right now and what's in pop culture is showing that, dude, and this used to kill me too. Females would say, happy Father's Day to the fathers out there, and happy Father's Day to the mothers that are taking on both roles. Dude, that's so disrespectful to even say. Because a lot of times, a lot of these females are actually getting financial help, getting help time-wise with their child, but they're considered single parents. No, a single parent is someone who's doing it absolutely by themselves and dad's not around or mom's not around. That's a single parent. So just wanted to talk about that. And I know we're talking about masculinity and everything like that, but this is a dynamic that breaks down families, or can build up families. So masculinity is absolutely important to have presence in your household. Another thing, it's not toxic, okay? One can agree to disagree. We already know that. But it's not toxic when a man decides that he's going to stand his ground. If he's standing his ground, and that's something that has to be respected. I think right now the problem that we're having in today's society is that nobody wants to listen to the other side. Everybody wants to get their word out as opposed to being receptive, becoming better. How can we improve the situation? And going forward, this is what we're going to do. No, there's no resolution. Everything is dwelling on the problem as opposed to seeking out solution. So that's a problem that we have, you know. And whether if you got a girlfriend, fiance, wife, whatever, they can sense masculinity. I'm just telling you that right now. I know this personally in every situation that I've ever been in, you know. But I do want to harp on this, man. They respect it. They follow masculinity. And if it's not present, then they won't be either. And unfortunately, they may stay with you because it may be financially beneficial, but they're seeking somebody else outside. Like, let's just be honest. They're stepping out and they're doing their own thing. Getting their masculinity fix while you go ahead and keep paying the bills. Or help if you got the 50-50 thing going on. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, if masculinity is not present in the household, they're going to seek it elsewhere. It is what it is. So take that for what you will. But it's not about control. And I don't want people to get that misconstrued. Masculinity is definitely not about control. What masculinity is about accountability. I know this personally. When I forget something in the house, I get upset. Obviously, I get upset around the people around me. You know, this is me trying to control my own emotions, right? But I got to kind of reel it in because I'm like, dude, you're the one that forgot something. This is your problem, not theirs. Or even if my wife forgets something or my kids forget something, guess what? I still get equally as upset. But then I understand. I'm like, dude, this is my fault. That's masculinity, taking accountability. And you think, oh, well, why would it be your fault if, you know, your kid left something or your wife left something in the house before you guys left? Because at the end of the day, I'm supposed to be that last filter, that last net before, you know, anything happens. So if something slips through, that's absolutely on me because I'm the one that's supposed to safeguard this project that we have going on in life with our family. Whatever it is that you're doing. If you're taking full accountability of what you're doing, that is masculinity. And trust what I tell you, that is not toxic. And trust what I tell you again, this is what women want around men. This is the dynamic that they're missing. Because a woman's energy is supposed to be feminine, beautiful. You know, hey, look at me. I am the prize. You know, you may be a great catch, sir, but I am the prize. Yes, you are the prize. And as soon as men get to understand that they know that they're seeking the prize, and in order for them to be the catch, they need to dive as much as they can into their masculinity, taking full accountability on what's going on, manning up, doing what they're supposed to do, showing great strength, showing great emotional strength, being in tune with their creator, universe, God, whatever you believe in, you know, and making sure that you are sound and nothing can break through your Damn, I'm hitting my mic over here. Breaking through your four walls. I'm sorry, I get a little bit animated. I'm over here sliding the mic back and forth. Anywho, I think we're going to keep that. But we're going to keep going, right? But what I'm saying is, men, I'm not saying to suppress how you feel. Believe it or not, women, ladies, we do have feelings. However, we don't really display them much the way we should. A lot of times it comes out, you know, by anger, as opposed to many women. They get angry, they do cry. A lot of men don't really get into those emotions, but it's not because we're not capable of getting into them. It's just society has always conditioned us not to be that way. But we'll talk about that in a minute. But and I'm not asking men to just ignore their stuff and suppressing their feelings. Like, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just simply asking you to discipline your emotions. And that means calm down with the shouting, calm down with being pissed off at the world. And just things like that, man. I mean, when you let your emotions control you, you got to think about it. Like, you're moving out of control, you're erratic. That's not going to serve anybody well, especially if you have people around you, especially if you are a man who has a family. But I will tell you this, control is absolute power. So as opposed to reacting to whatever situation comes, when you respond, there's a big difference in that. You know, I'm very keen on the English language. And of course, we already know responding is to actually, take something in and process it and deal with it as we see fit. But a reaction is you getting slapped upside the head, and what's somebody going to do? They're going to go and try to slap somebody the hell back because it's just reactive the way human beings move. It's who we are. But to be in in a response mode and actually process everything prior to us coming to an outcome, that shows complete power. So that's something that we definitely want to make sure that we do. And again, I'm going to go back to this. It's good to share how you feel. Vulnerability is power. This is actually what I was, going to talk about people, how they suppress their feelings. And back in the day, you couldn't display, how you actually felt. They would say, hey, man, suck that up. That's, what are you, a girl? They say stuff like that. And we were conditioned to grow up that way. But thank goodness you have, I would think, more of a world that's progressing into the future, more of a world that's evolving. I think it's an amazing thing that men can speak out more. I say, nah, man, this is a problem. And you can actually talk about it. And I will be quite honest with you. For people who think that they're going to lose respect by showing their vulnerability and showing their weakness and what they need to improve on and actually voice that out themselves as opposed to somebody criticizing them, you're not going to lose respect, man. You are going to get more respect for that because of the fact that people are not perfect. And everyone can gravitate toward imperfection because we are imperfection, period. The only one that walked this earth that was perfect was Jesus Christ, Yeshua, Allah, whatever you want to call him. Like, he was the end-all, be-all of perfection. We're not that. So when we're able to actually point out our situations where we're lacking, where we feel uncomfortable and we're kind of vulnerable, people can relate to it. So therefore, they are going to gravitate toward you and say, hey, man, I relate to this person because of the fact that they're not coming out here trying to be all polished and shiny, and it's just not real, okay? Like, Instagram's for the Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Like, reality is reality. I'm not going to get up looking all jacked and chiseled. No, man. I'm going to get up looking groggy as hell, try to get myself right, do what I need to do. If I ate late last night, my stomach's bloated the next day. It is what it is, man. But it's all about just being authentically yourself at the end of the day, So there's a lot of respect and vulnerability, and don't lose out on that. I say this all the time, man. People respect the open book, but they won't respect the closed library. You know what I'm saying? If people can see what you're about and you're not scared to show who you are, and you have on the opposite side of the spectrum, like, you let nobody in, guess who they're going to gravitate towards? Not the mystery man. Like, dude, you got secrets. I don't know if I want to find out what they are. So they would rather go to the open book because they know what they get. You know what I mean? But like for me, for instance, I harness my emotions through this podcast, man. I say things that, I really don't talk about with any other people, but obviously, with the YouTube community, right? I show it through my music. thoughts, feelings, and I try to, convey my message on that aspect as well. And whenever I'm going through a lot of pain and I'm pissed off and I'm feeling strong that I can withstand some pain, obviously I dive into my fitness, particularly running, which I'm going on 2 months since I last ran because I got jacked the hell up, guys. You guys know that. I already told you about that. But at the end of the day, you need to find your outlet. So it's absolutely imperative to do so. So then that way you're not going whacked out crazy and you give somebody an attitude who definitely doesn't deserve it. But this is just, this is what it is. So at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you just stop lacking. Let's just put it that way. Moving on. But the question that I pose to you guys is, what's driving you? Is purpose driving you? Or is popularity driving you? And the reason why I asked this question, man, is because I'm seeing so many people right now just chasing clout, man. Especially, dude, Instagram's the worst for this. It really is. We've gotten to a point where we're downing great people because they're not perfect. You know what I mean? Like, okay, somebody slips up, whatever. It happens. Maybe they had a bad slip up that put them at a ×2 with their slip up, but they're trying to take them down a ×10. It's like, damn, man. I said, I know I messed up a little bad, just, about a ×2. But you're just trying to take me all the way to the negative. You're trying to make it ×10 when it wasn't really that big. You know what I mean? Like literally making a mountain out of a molehill, right? And I'm not saying that that's all situations. Sometimes there's some severity. It all depends on which side of the problem that you're on and what's your perspective. But the problem that we have is that we have way too many people on the outside that are not involved with the situation, making it bigger than what it really is. And the bad part about that is you got a lot of men that are downing men. What in the world are we doing? What are we doing, man? You can't keep downing people. Look, I'm going to tell you like this. I call people straight out like I see it. And a lot of times, they're not going to like what I say. And that's okay because the truth hurts. That's like me. When people are very honest with me, what do? I'm like, okay, 10-4. Like I take it because I want to get better. You could tell when somebody's being critical and they're trying to critique your progress and trying to critique the process. And then you just got a straight hater. If you don't have a good radar on that, then that's on you, not me. But I'm just being absolutely honest with you, man. You got way too many people that are putting men down. And it's like, why are we doing that? You know what I mean? It's hard enough as is that society has conditioned men to want to transfer to the other gender. And the reason why that's happening is because they're probably thinking in their logic, like, man, nobody's listening to me. I'm not getting any help. I'm not getting any attention. But hey, if I were a female, they would probably consider me a little more. I'm sorry, man. You could ignore me all day long. I'm okay with that. I like what God has blessed me with, and I know he makes no mistakes. So that's just my belief. That's just my life, period. Like, there's no other way to it. But like I said, the crazy thing and the downfall of many people, man, is popularity. Stop chasing popularity, dude. It is not worth it. I will tell you that. And for me, like I say it all the time, man, like I'm very purpose driven. And I try to do what I have to do on the best, just at my fullest, full effort. Okay. If you don't love what you do, or if you think that you are like what somebody else is doing that like I'll be honest with you, like with me, if somebody likes what I'm doing, it's like, okay, well, I like what I do, but I love what I do. I like the process because I don't love the process, but we always love the end result, right? So, the end result I love, the process I don't like, but I have to do it like I love it anyway, because this is something that I love the end result of. So one thing that people need to really understand is, if you love something, go after it. But if you're just looking at somebody's finished product and you're like, oh, I want to do that too, like, good luck, man. I don't try to keep up with anybody else. I just try to outdo me on the daily. I tell you that with all sincerity. Don't try to keep up with me, because you might hurt yourself. I'm not going to try to keep up with somebody else who's doing some things, because I might hurt myself. So that doesn't sound like that I'm giving you some advice and saying, oh, stay away from this, stay away from that. But understand that I like this because I love the end result. And if you just like the end result, but there's a possibility that you don't love the process, dude, you're not going to do it. Period. If you ain't never ran a day in your life, dude, get into shape. Try to run. Oh, Rolo runs marathons. Dude, that ain't easy. I've been running marathons for a few years now, and it hurts every damn time. I'll run a 5K, and guess what? And it hurts every time. I never underestimate a race, because no matter what, that's the distance that has to get covered. The ground shows up every day, whether if you want to be there or not. So what I'm telling you is, go after what you want. Period. But don't go after something because it looks good of what somebody else is doing, and somebody's end result looks outstanding. You're like, oh, I want to do that. No, man, do what you love. That's also a part of masculinity. So stop chasing popularity. Live your purpose. I love serving my community. I love fatherhood. You guys already know that. I'm doing the best that I can right now to be a great dad to my little autism warrior, who just turned 10 on Monday. So he's been an absolute blessing to me, because he's actually helped me become a better man. Just when you think you got it all figured out, God says, no, you don't. So he conditions me to continue to learn about him, as well as learn about myself daily. So I think that's an incredible thing. As well as, my baby girl's in college. She's doing her thing. Absolutely grateful for that. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I didn't have children to bring into this world, to be a burden on this world. I'm trying to leave this place better than when I came into it. Okay? And at the end of the day, chivalry is not dead. Okay? We just need men to step up and be role models. Learn how to open a damn door for a female. And say, hey, ladies first. I'm teaching my son that right now. Okay? The little things. Hey, we respect women. This is what we do. I don't care about how a female treats you or what type of masculine energy she may have. You have to uphold yourself as a man 24/7, 365 in a leap year. Remember that. But anyway, that's it for my podcast this week, man. You guys already know. You guys can check me out on the socials. If you don't remember what it is, then you've been living under a rock. Anyway, y'all take care. Godspeed. Be the goat, never a sheep, and do not sleep on your dreams. Y'all take care. Peace.